it's not very long after we are born that we are introduced to this new thing in our lives called money. It may be a father who slips us some coins, and we take that mobile little bank and we somehow put a few coins in there, and we begin this understanding of what money is. And then after we grow up a little bit, we have a relationship with money. We have an attitude, we have thoughts that we have concerning money, and we learn more about money from our family than any other place. A family that is in discord and fighting all the time about money and upset about the bills coming in, that affects a child as they listen to this and they begin to form their own attitudes and their own thoughts about money. A child that is reared in that environment is more prone to think lack and to begin to think, I guess if my parents never had any money, then I'm not going to have any money, and that life is going to be rather difficult. Add that to the fact that most children are somewhat self-centered to begin with. It's like the mother was making pancakes one morning, pretty happy, beautiful morning. Kevin is 5, Ryan is 3, and they begin to fight over who's going to get the first pancake. Mother is observing this, thinking, well, this would be a good opportunity to give them a little talk here about not being so self-centered. She said, you know, if Jesus were here today, Jesus would say to his brother, no, you go ahead and you take the first pancake. Kevin looked at his brother Ryan and said, Ryan, you be Jesus. We learn what money is by the memories that we have of our childhood. My parents, my dad was a pastor in Baltimore, the church there all my life. My dad was into books and studying most of the time. My mother was a person that was a saver, and she would take a bank book and she would begin to give each of us a little money, and she would take us to Bradford Savings and Loan on a regular basis, and we would walk into the bank and stand there in the line, and we would deposit $1 and then come home, and I would sit in my mother's chair and look at that book, that bank book, and think to myself, one day I'm going to have $100. And we would do that over and over again. What my mother did not know when she opened a bank account for me when I was 7, that one act plus her lifestyle of always saving would affect me for the rest of my life. That the way I would look at things, the way I would value things would be so much different because of what she did. That as I got a little older, and I was 10 years old, in our family there were 6 of us, and so it was imperative to work. One week you cleaned the front room, another week you did the bathroom. We had a whole week that we would do all the dishes. And so we were trained that you work. And if you want to get ahead, you work for what you get. So putting together this work ethic that I learned in our family and putting that together with savings, when I was 10 years old, I learned that used papers were selling for $1 a 100-pound, and I got my little red wagon, and I would go up to about a mile from our house, and I would knock on the door, and I would say, "Do you have any old papers?" And I would load them on my wagon, and then I would take the wagon back to the garage and stack that up as it went up to the ceiling, and then I'd go out again. I didn't know at the time what was happening in my life, but I was developing a work mentality. I was learning that if you want to get ahead, it was impossible to have deferred gratification. That you could have it all right now, or you could defer your gratification and put it off for later. That became a part of my life. And I have, from that moment of what we have today, did not begin in the last few years. That began years and years ago, that I knew, because my mother taught me that I ought to be saving on a regular basis. Every person should be saving. Every person should be putting away some money every single month in a mutual fund or an investment or in the bank, so that you are a person that has a saving mentality. And sometimes you may not get that coffee at Starbucks, but the power of compounded interest is absolutely phenomenal. Last year, something happened in our nation that has been unheard of. For the first year since the Great Depression in 1933, the savings rate of Americans dropped to a point that we are minus 1%, which means that Americans are spending more and saving less. We have lost, in many ways, our understanding of the value of a dollar. You know, sometimes we go off and we buy a magazine for $3.50. And you, just as you're checking out, it's there, and you see a picture, and I got to have that, and you're kind of interested in the story. And you put it in the cart, and you go out, and you put it on the table, never look at it. 3 years later, take the magazine. Someone is doing a search and clean project, and you throw it away. And then you are cleaning out the refrigerator, and you bought all this fruit, and whatever happens, and so we've got $6 worth of fine food, but you didn't use it, and you throw it all in the trash. Oh, you're at a store, and sweaters are on sale because they're on sale for $20, and you wear it once, and you put it to the back of the closet, never think about it. And yet, we never really understand, you know, if I were to ask you, I'd like you all to take out a $20 bill, and I'd like you to you thought I was going to cut that, didn't you? How many were really that didn't feel right, did it? See, I felt what you were feeling, and I'm not going to, because you didn't